So I grew up in a very, very small town, way up in northern New York. And by small, I mean, I think the cows in my town outnumber the people like 40 to 1. I'm not kidding. There were so many farms around me, very, very small neighborhood where everyone knew each other. People could like walk down the road and say, hey, you would know them, so you'd say hey back, whether you wanted to or not. This would be a really thing to do. And I grew up Catholic, Roman Catholic. My mom is still going to church every Sunday. She teaches Sunday school, and I'm very proud of her for being such a paragon in our community. And I was too. I was baptized, went to First Communion, and then went all the way to confirmation. And I loved it. It was church was like a thing that I really connected to. And then I came out as gay. And I dealt with it. I stayed, I kept going, and no one in the community really knew yet, but my parents did. And then my mom came home one day from church school and said, we don't think that you should come back to church anymore. And so I said, okay, and I made my peace with it. Fast forward to college, so I was the kind of college student who did everything. I was in every group, everything. Like I ran cross country, I was an editor for my newspaper, I just did everything. Yeah, yep, newspaper. And I was also a member of the LGBTA, which stands for Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender Association. So one day the president comes up to me and he says, so I know that you are comfortable talking to people. Do you want to do something for a youth group? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And he's like, okay, well, it's going to be on Saturday night. We're going to take you there in a shuttle with a couple other students from the neighborhood. And you're going to get to the church and you're going to talk to the youth. They're like ages 14 to 18. And I said, whoa, back up. And went, where? And they're like, yeah, to the church. And I was like, oh, this is a setup. Like, this is how I'm going to die. So I get there, and it really was a church. I was in the basement, and we were surrounded by like this big group of kids, and they were ages 14 to 18. And the point of it was to just have them ask questions about our lifestyle. And so I'm still skeptical. I'm like, okay, well, there's no pitchfork, but it's probably out there somewhere. And one by one, the students ask us questions like, what do you do when you face discrimination? What does prejudice feel like to you? As a gay man, do you have a relationship? Like, do you walk hand in hand down the road? And the entire time I'm thinking, wow, these are really insightful questions. And I like turned to the president and I was like, what church is this? Like, where am I? And he said, well, it's the Unitarian Universalist Church. Yeah, you know. And I was like, okay, cool, I've never heard of it. So thank you for inviting me. And I went home and I thought, well, you know, tomorrow is Sunday. I wonder if they have a service. And so before I left, I talked to one of the people who's doing the youth group, and she was like, yeah, come on down, 10:30. It's open to everybody. I'm like, well, obviously. I get there the next day, 10:30, on the dot, and as I walk into the room, I like recognize the woman who was leading the church service, and it was Ann Marsh and Wade Wheelock. They were co-pastors, but Wade wasn't there. And she just shakes my hand and says, welcome, this is your first time. And I was like, yeah, it is. And she goes, okay, well, come on over here. And so she takes me to this bench. They don't call them pews, so I was notified of that. And she said that this is the place where you can sit if you are new, and then people will introduce themselves. And I'm like, okay, that sounds nice. And so I sit there, and one by one, every single person who walked in the room said, hi, I'm so-and-so, nice to meet you. And I was like stunned. First of all, I had never met any of these people, and I'm from a small town, so I'm like, where did you all come from? And second of all, I was just so struck by how friendly and inviting everybody was. So I don't know if any of you have been to a service, but they're typically themed, and this month it was it was the Gay Rights Month. It was all about the students there, Our Whole Lives OWL program, learning about what it means to be gay in the community and what the ramifications are, and how to better the community and broaden horizons for people. And so at the end of the service, I'm going to cry. Anna walked up to me and said, "You're home." And I said, "I am, thank you." And so that shelters me.